Now broadcasting from his hidden bunker and fully stocked bar, it is the Saturday Report with Colt Sebastian Taylor.
Thank you and welcome once again, my friends, to the Saturday Report with me, Colt Sebastian Taylor, adventurer, entrepreneur, and amateur redhead. Everyone's amateur redhead, really. And welcome to AWSM Radio, an independent, digital-only radio station that plays today's best music, old school classics, along with a rotating cast of all-star DJs. AWSM Radio focuses on mainstream artists, independent artists, along with a variety of interesting talk and music shows throughout the day. All we do is entertain, inspire, and inform. And my friends, I want you to be part of the show. I want you to be part of the conversation. So find me on the Twitter, on the Rizzle, on the Instagram at Colt S. Taylor, and catch up on all of my exciting adventures throughout the week at ColtSebastianTaylor.com. It should be bookmarked, visited every day. I'm just saying, it's a wonderfully made website that I do myself. You know, it's nothing fancy, but hey, it's not too bad. All right, my friends, let's get started with this week's Saturday Report. First up this week, as always, a weekly update due to my battle with Hyundai. Unfortunately, Hyundai just does not care. Hyundai does not care about me. I guess they don't care about their customers. I was promised a phone call from corporate. It has never come. Do you know who has called me? My mechanic, Bob. The one who guarantees his work on my Hyundai Tucson for lifetime, parts and labor. Guarantees it. I've heard from him. He just wanted to see how I was doing. He's a nice guy. Hi, Bob. But Hyundai, the folks which I shoveled over so much money for, don't call me. Ignore me on social media. I have to say, they are rather rude. I am not impressed with their customer service program they have over there. I guess, you know what? Once you leave the lot and they have your money, Hyundai just does not care about you. No, they don't. I mean, yes, they pay lip service to the warranty people, but I wonder how often they find ways to get out of their warranty. Probably a few lawsuits about that too. So, you know, I'm getting tired of talking about them. But I'll keep talking until I get my money's worth out of them. Because I think I could say, after so many weeks of being ignored, Hyundai is a terrible car company. Hyundai does not put out good quality vehicles. I mean, I'm one for having a bad Hyundai. And finally, Hyundai broke my heart. I was so happy with the Hyundai Tucson. I enjoyed it very much. I mean, I enjoy it now, but, you know, I feel swindled. I feel duped. I feel like Hyundai sold me a faulty product. They did. Well, obviously, the transmission was faulty because apparently they got sued a whole bunch for it, and new Hyundai Tucsons have a different type of transmission. So, you know, make your own conclusions. So, Hyundai, I'm still waiting for that phone call. You want to just cut to the chase and pay for the new transmission, that's fine too. But hey, let's have a conversation. You know what? I'm going to call first thing next week and invite them on the show next week. They probably won't come, but I'm going to keep tweeting them and I'm going to keep calling them until I get some sense of satisfaction or win the lottery and lose interest. We shall see. We first go to India this week, where I have many, many fans, where a video was released that went all the way around the world, went viral, where a Indian railroad employee rushed onto the tracks where a child had fallen as a train was approaching a station. Like, a child fell down, he leapt down, pulled the child out, jumped out himself, and seconds later, the train came to the station. Would have crushed them both. This was at the, and I apologize because I'm butchering these names, at the Vangani station of Central Railway, according to the Ministry of Railways in India. Pointsman Mr. Mayur Shaliki leapt off, and then he saved the child, and he was saluted for his duty and courage and devotion to the railways in India, which for the first time in 167 years was apparently suspended last March in many areas due to the COVID-19 outbreak, which was they had to have their own nationwide lockdown. And then they're also over there, they have 20,000 old train carriages, which are basically, train cars, and they're going to be converting them into wards for patients as the virus spread. So they took all of these old train cars that they, probably just keep mothballed in case they need them again, and they turned them into places to house patients who need to be isolated because it's a very crowded place over there. But this gentleman was amazingly brave, leapt onto the tracks, pulled the child up, put the child on the railway area where the passengers wait, and then leapt onto there himself. Whew. Fun fact, India Railways is the 4th largest rail operator in the world, and is India's biggest employer. So the rails over there are very, very important. Lots of people travel through it. I mean, I wish I had a rail station where I live, actually. Fortunately, here in the United States, we don't really do the whole rail thing anymore. But, only as a side note here, because we're talking about railroads, under the new Amtrak expansion plan, apparently, there is a plan for service to reach all the way out where I am. I live here in my secret bunker, so I could hop the train and pop on down to Philadelphia, and then take another train, get to New York, and almost anywhere else. I've always wanted to do a cross-country train ride on one of those sort of room cars where you have your own little room. Be great. I also don't have $1,500 just lying around for a one-way trip. Most of that money went into my Hyundai transmission. Oh, Hyundai, ruining things all the time, including trains. But anyways, to the pointsman out in India, congratulations, sir. You are a brave person, and thank you for saving that young child's life. We now go from India to Indonesia in Southeast Asia, for those who don't know how maps work, where there is a large search for a missing Indonesian submarine. Yes, a submarine carrying 53 people went missing this week while on torpedo drills. Stretch of water between Java and Bali, known as the Bali Straits, when it was last seen. Apparently, the United States have joined the operations. 3 submarines, 21 warships, and 5 airplanes are all looking for this ship, with additional help from Singapore and Malaysia trying to find the ship. They have come across an oil spill in the area, and they have found an object in the water. They don't know what the status of the submarine is yet. They apparently have enough oxygen in there until today, assuming they're stuck somewhere down there. But, many times when a submarine is lost like this, generally speaking, it's not usually a happy ending. Could be different. They're still looking really hard to find them. They don't know where they are, but once they find them, there's a variety of ways they can get down there and contact them. I believe there's a way for them to get like an air hose down there to supply some fresh air. So hopefully they're getting closer. Hopefully they're trying to find them. It's in about 150 to 300 feet of water. So it's not so deep that it'll be crushed by the pressures, but obviously if you can't get off the ocean floor, that's a problem. They right now they have 2 explanations of why the oil had come to the surface. One is perhaps it dove too deep and it couldn't get back up, so released some of the fluid to try to get back to the surface, or something a bit more sinister. So we shall see. Indonesia apparently is trying to upgrade its defensive naval capabilities, but a lot of their submarines are very old, as are other equipment, and there have been accidents in past years, including military transport planes as well. So I'll follow that, see if we can get an update with that next week. We'll probably know by the end of the weekend. If they haven't found it by the end of the weekend, it's probably not going to be great. But that crossed my desk. I'm always interested in that sort of things. But I'll keep tab on this for you. Speaking of the military, we now go to Eastern Europe, where Russia is apparently withdrawing some troops near the Ukrainian border. If you may remember, the Crimea part of Ukraine is no longer part of Ukraine. It's been occupied by Russian forces for several years now. Over 5 years. There are also two other breakaway regions, quote-unquote breakaway regions, in eastern Ukraine, which probably has it's got a lot of Russians hanging out there. And there was a fear that the massive buildup of said troops would lead to a complete invasion of the most of Ukraine. A lot of Ukrainian military went on high alert. They called up reserves. They thought, well, this is going to be it. But apparently, Russian forces are moving back to their bases. Some of them are still staying there. They said that this was a snap inspection, just to see, just testing things of how quickly we can get troops to the border and whatnot. And we weren't going to do anything nefarious. We're just testing things out, making sure we're still good. Fun fact: one of the Israeli-Egyptian wars started, I believe, the Yom Kippur War. Egypt for months would send everyone to the Suez Canal, build up the troops. Israelis would get really, really nervous and put their troops there. And then Egyptian would go, oh, just a bunch of drills. Doop, 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 doop. Time to go back. And then eventually Israel's like, all right, this is just a drill. We're not going to send everyone get over there. And then Egypt invaded. It didn't work out well for them in the end, but I think the Ukrainians are not going to fall for the old Egyptian ruse that they used back in I want to say the 70s. But that's a very dangerous area. Very, very dangerous area. There's a lot of intelligence agencies watching that real, real closely because Ukraine is not surrounded completely by Russia, but it's got Russia on a lot of sides. Another interesting theory that has been floating around there is that Russia is actually not so much interested in the Ukraine, but more interested in Belarus, which is another country to the north of it, and they're thinking that they're putting troops there so they can invade Belarus. And you're probably saying to yourself, Colt, holy moly, I need to look at my map of Eastern Europe. I don't know where Belarus is or the Ukraine and Crimea. Criminy. So yeah, you may want to read up on that, friends. Because things are getting a wee bit spicy over there. A wee bit spicy. From Russia in Europe to Russia in space. Apparently, Russia is planning to end more than 2 decades of close cooperations at the International Space Station, the ISS, and are planning to pull out in 2025 and build their own space station. Apparently, they don't like criticism about invading Ukraine, interfering in elections, killing Russian dissidents, and just the general nefarious things that they tend to do. Not Russia's general, but the Russian government. So they said, well, if you don't like what we're doing, we'll just leave. So they plan to be building their own space station. Have it ready by 2030, so about 9 years from now. This space station will not be permanently crewed, apparently. It will be higher up in orbit, therefore exposed to more radiation. So cosmonauts could only be up there for a limited amount of time. And then the rest of the time, it will be manned by robots and whatnot, doing what space stations do. So they will be pulling out of the International Space Station. Now, right now, until very recently, in fact, not completely now, but until recently, Russia was the only way you could get to the International Space Station after the retirement of the Space Shuttle program. But Elon Musk, that crazy mad genius behind Tesla, has his own space rocket company and has been able to successfully send and return crew back and forth from the International Space Station. So at least we'll have a way to get back up there. But there has been talk about wrapping up the International Space Station project as well. Some people say, well, they don't really do too much up there. We can use that money elsewhere. And other people are saying, we're retreating from space if we do that. And also, we spent a whole lot of money making this thing. We should probably stay there, for a while. Billions and billions of dollars to say, you know what? I've had enough. But pretty soon, there might be an International Space Station neighbor up there. The Russians. I think China also has a not the sort of space station up there. They have some things up there that they can clamp together, but I don't think it's manned. I did not look it up whatsoever. I could be thinking of the movie Gravity, perhaps. I don't know. Anyways, they announced that this week. The head of the space agency said, if you want to do it well, do it yourself. Which is, doesn't exactly say cooperation for all mankind. Now, if I had to guess, I bet that Russian space station, probably have some spy cameras on it. Just guessing. Well, my friends, if Russia is going to be leaving the International Space Station, I do know someone who should replace them, and that's my pal DC. He is our in-house DJ. DC mixes it up every Friday at 9 p.m. and Sundays on 10 p.m. You do not want to miss out while he smashes it on the ones and twos, kicking his beats from, right now, his South Florida compound. But hey, we could send him into space. He could DJ from space. I think you would have to Velcro everything down and whatnot, but I think the mechanics of it would work well in space. So listen, you heard it here first. DC live in space, coming 2028 here on AWSM Radio. I think we all know it's going to happen. We'll get our top scientists to work on it. So DC, I should probably have told you earlier, but it's going to happen. But until then, you can listen to him right here on AWSM Radio, Fridays at 9 p.m. and Sundays at 10 p.m. DC live in effect. We now go to Europe, where a controversy has swept the continent. And of course, as you know, I'm talking about soccer. As they call it over there, the football. Now, listen, folks, this may surprise you. I do not follow European soccer at all. So, the last few weeks, even this last week, I'm not quite sure the timeline here, they announced a Super League, which oh, wow, interesting. So, 12 of the best teams in Europe were getting together, forming their own little mini league with 12 teams, and they would play in the Super League, and I guess, they would have their Super League champion. Well, this caused a lot of humbug amongst players, fans, sportscasters, and heads of state. I believe the Prime Minister of Great Britain commented on how much this was a terrible idea. And a lot of people were upset. A lot of people. Like Arsenal, which is a soccer team I kind of recognized, has now backed out because of overwhelming fan rejection of this. And everyone was super, super upset, which I just didn't understood. So I had to read a bit more into this. I had to search to Super League Explainer. So apparently, and now listen, if you are my European fan, you already know this, but hey, us dumb Americans, we don't follow European soccer. At least most of us don't. So apparently, for everyone else there is soccer over there, obviously. But they have a Champions League. And they select teams go in every year, have a tournament and whatnot, but teams kind of rotate in and out based on performance. You don't make this tournament unless you're good. So if you have a really good year in a small league, if you're like a mid-tier team, you can get popped in there and be in the Champions League. So it allows everyone a chance to compete theoretically. Now, obviously, the top teams, they get in there fairly often because they're the top teams, but it allows some room for some mid-tier teams to sort of compete, get a piece of that money and whatnot. Well, this Super League, as it were, the 12 teams would be the same 12 teams. It'd be a private league, no in, no out. The 12 that are invited are the 12 that stay there. And apparently this would incentivize teams to, pay their players less because they'll already be in this Super League with the most recognizable names in European soccer. So the way for the owners to get more money, apparently. Well, like I said, this caused a lot of people to be upset, especially other soccer leagues. So they threatened to ban players from playing in any other league again, kicking them out of the international FIFA tournament, penalties, trying to pressure television stations not to keep them. Basically, it was a hot mess to the point where two soccer teams that were all for it immediately backed off because they got an overwhelmingly negative response from the fans. Now, the Super League, apparently is not going to happen. It's going to self-dissolve even before it started, but some teams are still supporting it. Some teams are still supporting the concept or whatnot. They would like to see the Champions League concept change, so to speak. Basically, they think that this was a very elaborate, some people commentators think it's a very elaborate power play to have the UEFA, which is the United European Football Association, I think so. I don't know if I have the acronym right. To change the rules of the Champions League so it guarantees that the teams that wanted to break away and make this own league would be in this tournament every year. Again, would it? I mean, kind of giving in to them, whatnot. So I think I understand why the fans were upset. And honestly, I think I'm on their side. I don't understand soccer, but it seems like the owners were getting a wee bit too, greedy of wanting more money, and that kind of blew up in their face. And now a lot of these prestigious teams are a little damaged right now. They have to do a whole lot of crowd control, damage control to win back their fans. Because as far as I understand, the Arsenal fans, they're still pissed. They're still way, way, way upset with them that they would even think about doing this and whatnot. So I think I've understood this. If I have not understood what's going on in the Super League, please let me know. I'll have you on next week, and you can explain it to me. Maybe I should have called someone about this. There's probably somebody I know who knows soccer or whatnot. So, you know what? Maybe I'll try to track someone down next week. We'll talk about it again. If it's still a thing, it might not be a thing by the end of this weekend. We'll see. But, yeah. So I've never seen so many people so upset about soccer. Well, I've seen soccer riots, so I guess I have seen people upset about soccer, but I guess short of a soccer riot, this is the most I've ever seen people upset about soccer. Moving along, as you may remember, last week I sadly reported that the day before that rapper DMX, also known as Earl Simmons, passed away on April 9th after suffering a heart attack. He'll be having a memorial service this weekend. Two memorial services, actually. First memorial service will be today, April 24th, at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then a homegoing celebration, because he's going home, so to speak, on April 25th at 2:30 p.m. Now, obviously, this will be held in New York. It's still under strict COVID regulations. Only 10% capacity at major venues, so they're having it at a venue with it can seat 19,000 people, but that means they can only really put 1,900 folks in there. But my friends, I believe that this will be live streamed on YouTube and broadcast live on BET. It'll be at the Brooklands Barclay Center, and it'll be live streamed on DMX's YouTube channel. So if you can't make it up there, which, I mean, it's pretty much going to be invite only to close friends and family, you can follow along online or on BET as they celebrate his life. So, always sad to see someone go before they should, but at the very least, however, you can participate, enjoy it. So two memorial services. That's pretty impressive and whatnot. When I shuffle off this mortal coil, I certainly will not be having anything live streamed on TV. Unless my said departure happens during a live event. That's the only time any sort of death-related live streaming you'll be involving Colt Sebastian Taylor. Anyways, on that macabre note, DMX's memorial service and homegoing service are this weekend. One today, one tomorrow. Follow his Instagram page for additional details. I'm sure they'll be posting stuff throughout the day. And, if you share a memory there, I'm sure there'll be a hashtag. I'm not sure what's trending quite yet. Probably DMX Memorial. We'll see. There'll probably be some clever hashtag with it. But, I hope if you're a big fan of him, I hope you find the time this weekend to attend a memorial service that they're holding, or at least a part of one. We now go to Mars, where NASA's most advanced rover yet, Perseverance, did two amazing things recently. First, as you may remember, they have a helicopter on there, or a flying drone, as it were, and it successfully took off, went up into the air, and landed again. The first flying machine on Mars to successfully fly around there. Things have landed there, but nothing has taken off and landed again. As you remember, a small piece of the Wright brothers flyer is on there. It's taped on there. The first thing to fly on the planet here is attached to the first thing to fly on Mars, which is pretty amazing if you think about it. They're going to be using this chopper to do some, some science stuff, probably some pictures, some droning around and whatnot, but they're able to successfully have it take off, land again. The atmosphere is different there than it is here on Earth, so they had to do a lot of math to figure out how to fly it correctly. And then also on Mars, on this rover, they were able to create oxygen out of the atmosphere. Now, the Mars atmosphere is 96% carbon dioxide, which, as you may know, we can't breathe, and it would kill us if we were on there. We would literally asphyxiate. But they sent a thing up there, a doodad, called Moxie, and they were able to create 5 grams of oxygen in about 10 minutes, which is about they create 5 grams of oxygen, which is worth about 10 minutes of breathable oxygen. There we are. The device is designed to create up to 10 grams of oxygen per hour. Now, it takes a lot of heat to make this thing work, about 1,500 degrees Fahrenheit, to convert carbon dioxide to pull out an oxygen atom, and it emits carbon monoxide, so it doesn't just pull out both oxygen molecules, because carbon dioxide is 1 carbon and two oxygen molecules. Pulls one out, sends carbon monoxide out the other end, and creates the oxygen. So it can do about 10 grams of oxygen per hour. So it can make 20 minutes worth of air every hour. Obviously, they're going to need more than one of those devices if someone's going to be up there. But it's not only about making something where you can live and breathe there. Obviously, breathing is important if you want to visit there in person. But oxygen is also a critical component in rocket engines. They burn liquid oxygen to fuel a lot of rockets. So it's a fuel. It's a breathing. It's a breathing element, and it's also fuel. One of the biggest problems about going to Mars is getting back. It's not like there's a gas station there. So they would have to create their own fuel on there to get back, or bring the fuel with them. And if they're bringing fuel with them, that means they need more fuel to lift that fuel off the ground. I'm saying fuel a whole lot in this segment. But it's pretty amazing. It worked well. It's apparently made out of this device called Moxie. I get Moxie with Oxy. Now I finally get the acronym. It's made up of 3D printed heat-tolerant materials. So they basically 3D printed this device that can make oxygen. I'm sure there's other science involved with it, but that is pretty amazing. Two amazing things: a flying chopper, and and they made oxygen. They made oxygen on Mars. So I imagine once DC gets the International Space Station by 2025, 2040, old man DC DJing from Mars. Bring your own Moxie to BYOM. It's a BYOM rave on Mars. I'm booking it. There you are. Boy, DC, I think you need to start training to be an astronaut now, because I've booked 2 gigs for you. One at the National Space Station, the other one on Mars. Tickets start at $2 million. Elon Musk, I'm sorry, we cannot comp you. Anyways, friends, 2 amazing things on Mars. Science, it's amazing. I love it. So I'll be following this story closely, see if anything else amazingly happens on Mars. Now, folks, as we know, there is no life on Mars, and sometimes at gender reveal parties, life can be wiped out as well. Hey, do you know there's been 4 deaths this year, in the last year, due to gender reveal mishaps? Yes! Happiest day of the year, but you killed your aunt. Good job, boys. Well, in New Hampshire, there was another gender reveal party, and they decided to, make it special. Go to a rock quarry, very romantic place in New Hampshire to do such things, and use, a little tannerite to announce the gender of the baby. Now, for those who don't know what tannerite is, it is a stable material that you mix together and becomes a little combustible. Often used to remove stumps by blowing them up. If you shoot at something, you see a big old explosion, it's usually tannerite. Any sort of hard impact will ignite the material and whatnot. So, people will fill up a stump full of this stuff, shoot at it, blow up the stump. Well, golly, if you put some powder around it, you have this wonderful sort of gender reveal burst of smoke and whatnot to say, oh, it's a boy, oh, it's a girl. Oh, no, it's a forest fire. Yeah, this has caused a forest fire sometimes. And then for folks who are a little too close, shrapnel has killed a few people over the last year at these gender reveal parties. Well, no one was killed. However, the explosion was so loud, it rattled houses in a 20-mile radius. Heard all the way down to Massachusetts, and the police were like, you generally don't see that on a weekend. Guess we'll have to go check it out. Apparently, they had permission to use the rock quarry, and they had legally obtained the explosive. So technically, no crime was broken. No windows were broken either. But police officials and your old pal Colt Sebastian Taylor can only implore you: don't use explosives to reveal the gender of your baby. In fact, you don't even need to have a gender reveal party. You just want to get together and have different colored cakes. Hey, that's fine too. But leave gender revealing to a baking sort of contest. I'm just saying, maybe have different flavored Kool-Aids. Always fun. Maybe a pie with blueberry or cherry in it, and you hit your lover with it. I guess one would be a pink fruit, light cherry, Light cherry. And boom, hey, look, gender reveal party. Blowing up and possibly breaking the eardrums of half your family, maybe not the best way to reveal the gender of a baby, friends. Just a handy little party planning tip from your old pal, Colt Sebastian Taylor. Speaking of explosive, what explodes every Monday through Friday from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. here on AWSM Radio is The Rock Sessions, hosted by my incredible friend and occasional crush, Rox. She wants to make sure your evening commute home is fun, and she gets the job done. She plays the hottest musics on all the charts, and has all the surprises in betweens. So there's so much on there, everything has to be plural. That's right, folks. It's a great show. You should definitely listen to it. She will make it Rock's style, right here on AWSM Radio. So, make your calendar appointment, download the app, bookmark AWSM Radio's website, and listen to The Rock Sessions right here on AWSM Radio, Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Finally, folks, this week some sad news. Shock G has passed away, best known for the Humpty Dance, at least that's what I know him from his hit song from the Digital Underground. Also worked with Tupac Shakur. Apparently was found in a hotel room this week, dead. There was no signs of trauma, but they will conduct an autopsy to see what the cause of death was. The Humpty Hump song was famous in 1989, as you may remember. He wore the glasses and had a big nose. This is a very, very funny video. He often collaborated, as I said, with Tupac, as well as other famous artists such as Dr. Dre, Prince, just to name a few. He was 57. Also, fun fact, and I tell you what, in terms of cameos in movies, one of the greatest cameos of all time, I think, was made by the Digital Underground. He appeared in the movie Nothing But Trouble with Chevy Chase, Dan Aykroyd, John Candy, where Dan Aykroyd was this crazy old judge, and Chevy Chase was stuck in his house, and they arrested Digital Underground, the cop and Dan Aykroyd, and then they did a song in the movie and did a soundtrack for the movie, and then Dan Aykroyd's character played the piano, and they had fly girls and whatnot. It's a very, very entertaining and funny scene, and a young Tupac is also in that movie as part of the Digital Underground. You can see him. I don't know if he's making his movie debut, but him and Shock G were both in that movie. Fun little trivia fact. If you haven't seen the movie, you're not missing too much, but I thought it was very, very, very good. So, once again, unfortunately, at the age of 57, Shock G of the Digital Underground has passed away. Best known for Humpty Hump and the Humpty Dance. It's a good song, and the video is also really good, too. I highly suggest you check it out this weekend. I was a little saddened to read this. 57 is entirely too young. So, wherever you are, Humpty Hump, I hope you're surrounded by lovely ladies. Well, my friends, that just about wraps up this week's Saturday Report with your old pal, Colt Sebastian Taylor. Thank you so much for joining me today. Remember, you can find me on the internet, specifically the Twitter, the Rizzle, and the Instagram at Colt S. Taylor. Also on Cameo, if you want a personal appearance by me. I've done about a dozen of them. It's fantastic. Also, Colt S. Taylor on Cameo, cameo.com/Colt S. Taylor. And feel free to engage with me. Let me know if I'm missing a story, if there's something I should cover, if they want me to go back and find out more information about something. Hit me up. I like the attention. Woogie constantly wants me to follow up on things, so should be more than just her or whatnot. But so lots of people hit me up. So hit me up on the social media there, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. And of course, bookmark ColtSebastianTaylor.com for all of your Colt Sebastian Taylor needs. Until next time, my friends, I am, of course, your friend, Colt Sebastian Taylor, and I'll see you later.